Hi, Cassie. To get us started, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell tell folks a little bit about your current position?
Yeah, sure. I'm Cassie Lively. I am currently the Executive Director of the Center for Conflict Resolution in Chicago.
And how did you get to that position? Sort of what has been your career path?
Yeah, I actually really just kind of stumbled into mediation. I was in graduate school at Loyola, working on a PhD in sociology, and my assistantship was coming to an end, and I needed to find full-time work. And I knew I wanted to do something in the nonprofit field. And I really had no previous experience with mediation. I knew what the word mediation meant, and that was about it. But even that didn't really encompass all I would, go on to understand about all the different types of mediation that there are. And was just really excited to see a job listing for the Center for Conflict Resolution and to learn more about what this particular organization was doing and what people were doing more broadly with mediation and conflict resolution work. And so I started as a case manager at CCR and have been here for almost 10 years now in a variety of different positions, and I'm really happy to be a part of this field.
Do you mind talking a little bit about the various positions you've held as you've moved up in this organization?
Yeah, sure. So when I started as a case manager, it was great because a lot of what I was doing was actually mediating cases and learning how to support people who were just learning how to mediate and going out and helping our clients with their disputes. So troubleshooting during mediations and working with judges and clerks and different referral partners to get cases to CCR to be mediated. And so it was cool to get both hands-on practical experience mediating and then also to support other people as they were learning how to mediate. And then I moved to be mediation services director, so I had a bigger hand in program planning and administration and statistics and reporting for grants and things like that. And then I was in that position for a long time, about 7 years, and so gradually got more involved in training and other pieces of the organization, more deeply involved in grant writing and things like that. And then was fortunate enough a year ago to be able to move into the executive director position, which is where I am now.
Well, it's more than fortunate. It's very well deserved. As you have been moving up in the organization, and especially when you were looking at becoming the executive director, I'm wondering if you got any advice about, any career advice about moving up in this field and really dedicating now your career to this field.
Yeah, sort of all along the way, I think everyone who's lucky enough to work in alternative dispute resolution in the city of Chicago, um, we're all very fortunate because there's a really engaged community of people who will do things like take you to ACR meetings and introduce you to people who have been in the field for 30 years. And particularly at CCR, we have a lot of people who have been doing this work as their first choice for many, many years. And it's a really open and welcoming community. I was mentored by you when I started at CCR and by our former executive director, Marilyn Smith, who just sort of brought me along, introduced me to a lot of people. And that's the main thing, is just taking advantage of the connections and professional organizations and the enthusiasm of all the people who do this work.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing community, and as we're doing these interviews, it's fun to reconnect with so many folks who we first met at CCR. What
Yeah,
do you
definitely.
think is unique about CCR that has allowed so many individuals to launch their career in ADR?
I think CCR is really special because it gives people the opportunity not only to learn to mediate, but to actually then put those skills into practice. We're the only place in Chicago where people are able to do that, and to not only get the experience mediating, but to get that experience while being supported really closely on the ground by people who have many years of experience and who are really eager to learn and teach and help other people grow in the field.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So you're now the executive director of the Center for Conflict Resolution, one of the largest community mediation centers in the nation. How do you feel like your position allows you to shape the field that we're in, or be a leader in the field that we're in?
I think what's most fun about it for me is the ability to problem solve and the ability to tap into CCR's huge network of existing partners and and then have those people introduce us to other folks who might be working in organizations or situations that could benefit from the kind of work that we do, and then thinking creatively about designing programs that can help, and trainings that can help. And when you work with people in this field, there's a focus on creative problem solving and creating win-win solutions to problems. And so it's cool to work with people who think that way, and it's great to have the opportunity to shape new programs and new solutions.
Yeah, it's definitely a community that talks the talk, doesn't just walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
So as folks are watching this, and if they might be thinking about starting a career in ADR and maybe as their first career, what advice would you give them?
Is making connections with organizations like CCR and like Association for Conflict Resolution, reaching out to folks through LinkedIn. Everyone in this field is enthusiastic about it and enthusiastic to hear from other people who are thinking about making this their career. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just working on making those personal connections.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Any other parts about your career, your path in this field that you'd like to share with folks?
Just that I think, again, just those personal connections are so key, and just putting yourself out there and taking advantage of every opportunity, every training. This field is so diverse in terms of the approaches that people take. So I think not limiting yourself to one approach or one take on how to resolve conflict is important, and just taking advantage of all the opportunities that are out there.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much, Cassie. It's been fun to see you grow in the field as I've gotten to know you over the last now 10 years, I think, 9 or 10 years. And again, congratulations on your stupendous leadership at CCR, and thank you so much for doing this interview.
Yeah, thank you, Allison.